Hello, everybody. I'm not sure what edition
Hello.
this is for. What edition
17.
is this? 17 of Disruptive Technology. And we're going to probably talk about a couple of different topics today. The first one I'm going to start with is the new, well, it's not really new, but the Helly Hansen product that is a type of
We call
insulation.
we yeah, we called the hangout insulating disruptive insulating technologies or something.
Right. And the Helly Hansen company uses something called LIFA, LIFA, and it's an amazing product because it retains 40 times less water than polyester, and it's 40% more lightweight than insulation generally, and it has natural antibacterial properties, so there's no smells when it gets wet, and if you're wearing it and you're sweating or something. And the greatest thing about it, coming from in my opinion, coming from the businesses that we're in, is that it's 100% recyclable. And I'm quite certain that I remember buying a Hallie Hansen, a couple of Hallie Hansen products for when I used to play hockey outside. It can get to 25, 30 below zero here, and you have to be warm, and you don't want to be sweating a lot. And so I bought this Helly Hansen hoodie that was really thick, and I just pretty much wore it underneath my jersey while I played outside, and it was amazing because the product did exactly what they said, and it wicked any sweat away from your body. So if you're familiar with playing sports or whatever outside in winter conditions, you know you want to keep yourself dry. And so that's the greatest thing about this LIFA insulation is that it'll keep you dry no matter what your physical activity is. So even if you get wet by ice or snow hitting you while you're playing, it doesn't go to your skin. Um, your body heat actually causes it to evaporate all the way to the outside of the fabric. And so this, I'm quite certain that when I bought it, I remember contacting the Helly Hansen company and asking them a bunch of questions, and I was really amazed to learn that they were making it out of recycled pop bottles when they started. I'm not sure if they're still doing that. The hoodie I bought is probably 40 years old now, and it's still in great shape, still works great.
I don't think it would be 40 years old at all. Maybe 10 or
Sorry,
20 at the
maybe
most.
maybe sorry, 20 what? I was thinking of some other numbers. Yeah, 20 years old max, maybe 15 to 20. And like I say, it still works fabulously. And so that's LIFA. And there are other types of insulation similar to LIFA that is manufactured by other companies other than Helly Hansen. They're usually described as wicking fabrics. And now, when I was talking to my friend originally, before I bought to the Helly Hansen hoodie, he was telling me that he was wearing something that had a wicking fabric to it as well. And the jacket he was wearing to play hockey was really thin. I thought, how can you be warm in such a thin material? And
Yeah,
that's another.
it is amazingly lightweight for the amount of warmth that is provided, as well as very thin. I was amazed with Helly Hansen products and absolutely love them and completely advocate that. And it was actually before we started the hangout and we were talking about this, I was actually really, really surprised to hear that the material they use is made from recycled pop bottles. That's awesome. And so I wanted to talk about another major disruptive innovation to insulating technology, and it is a product called aerogel. About a year ago, Upon the recommendation of a close friend, I went and picked up a new pair of rubber boots, and she said that they would be great for the wintertime because they are waterproof and they have this aerogel stuff inside, which keeps your feet amazingly warm. And it's summer right now here in Alberta, Canada, and I've actually been wearing those rubber boots every day. And I was a person who always hated wearing rubber boots in the summer. Well, you really only would wear rubber boots in Canada in the summertime during the rain. But a lot of the times when we have rain here in Canada, it's also very accompanied with warm, humid weather. And so I can remember wearing rubber boots and my feet getting sweaty and getting blisters and absolutely hating having to wear rubber boots for any extended period of time. However, these new boots that I got with this amazing aerogel installation, I find I've been wearing them every day in the summer, not just on the rainy days, but all of the days on the summer. And I find that they keep your feet extremely warm during our extremely cold winter, as well as I'm able to wear them all summer long and not experience any sweating or blisters, which I used to get pretty regularly from just the regular rubber boots. And they're also steel-toed. So anyway, I don't remember the name of the boot actually, unfortunately. However, I know that I picked them up at we have a store in Alberta, Canada called Mark's Work Warehouse, and they are the sexiest boots that you've ever seen. They're like big and thick and this like green rubber, kind of like not a bright green but kind of a swampy green color. They're like really nice. But if you just went to Mark's Work Warehouse or any workwear outlet, and you just ask for the rubber aerogel boots, they will probably be able to hook you up. So do you have some stuff to say about the aerogel technology that exists in my boots, don't you, Larry? You're muted. We can't hear you. No, don't please. You know that, please.
Sorry, aerogel is another amazing insulating material that I think it's actually the best, one of the best. It's in the top 5 for insulating properties in the world out of everything that there is. And they, I know scientifically, they always used to call it frozen smoke. And when they started using it for clothes, I know there's a few clothing companies that are using it for gloves as well, and probably they're branching out into using it to a lot of different materials for clothing. The way we're using it with King Sunshine is it's actually the insulation that we're now using in our unit called the Elector Crown. That's the module, the thermoelectric generator module in our machine that makes electricity. And so I really don't want to spend a lot of time talking about how it's being used in our module in the Elector Crown, because it's we've kind of come up with a new method of actually forming it to make shapes, as well as giving it a foil coating. And I'm not sure if it's public knowledge or public
yeah, I wouldn't get into discussion on specifics with our technology, but can you just talk a little bit about the qualities of aerogel and what makes it such a good insulator, and maybe some of the stats or testing that has been done, and maybe some of the process of how it came about as a disruptive technology in the insulation industry? Like, it's replacing a lot of other materials, correct?
Oh yeah, it was. I'm pretty sure it was invented by NASA for use on the space shuttle, and as well as other extraterrestrial components that go out into deep space. Um, what I was told by our supplier here up in Canada is that aerogel, or they call it pyrogel because we're using it more for a heat, retaining heat. And the pyrogel itself has got properties, whereas if you have a 1/4 inch of pyrogel, it insulates as well as between 4 and 6 inches of fiberglass paint. So that in itself is a pretty amazing feat. And when we started working with it in the shop, I noticed that right away. It was like, this stuff is amazing. It's really a product that is quite new, and I don't think it has really come to the market. However, where we live, there is a lot of new technologies going into the oil and gas production industry, specifically up north in Fort McMurray area, where they have to keep a lot of materials nice and toasty warm, mainly because of the climate up there, but also because of their processes. So a friend of mine actually works with it as well. They use it for wrapping pipe that is used for, I think it might even be in the tailings production. But he doesn't like working with it because it's tough to work with. And I think
Do you have any idea on what they were using to insulate that pipe prior to aerogel? Like what specifically material are they replacing or disrupting? Do you have any idea?
I know that there's materials that won't handle the heat, and so they might have tried some.
Well, they must, but they were doing it like this aerogel stuff's really new, right? So weren't they insulating that pipe before with something else?
I was about to say, I think they were using.
Hello?
Yeah.
You think they were using what?
I'm pretty sure they were using fiberglass as well as. I think they were using polyurethane foam as well. I know one of the other companies that we were getting stuff when we were doing our R&D on the Electro Crown, we were starting to get into some fiberglass board materials as well as ceramic papers. The names, I worked with them over a year ago, so I can't remember the names, although I know that they were based two main components were, or the two different products we were working with were both fiberglass and the other one I just said, I just forgot. Fiberglass and
the polyurethane foam.
Ceramic fiber.
Oh, ceramic fiber. Sorry.
So ceramic fiber is pretty good stuff, but the properties of both of them are different. But when it comes to aerogel, it's like night and day. Aerogel is by far the more suitable material for those applications. So I'm pretty sure a lot of places using fiberglass are using it probably because it's less expensive than pyrogel. Pyrogel
right. It's amazing, amazing stuff. And of course, I don't know what they were using for, I think just like, I don't know what they're using for insulation in boots. I don't think that rubber boots have ever really been able to be insulated before the advent of pyrogel, because before any rubbery boots that I've seen insulated are with some kind of fabric liner. So yeah, these rubber boots that I'm telling you about, they are absolutely amazing. Yeah, and the only rubber boots that I've seen before for warmth had the fabric liners inside, so that's totally new. and then also for warmth properties for insulating with clothing, it hasn't been possible to do that with fiberglass, of course. So, yeah, do you have any idea of what kind of stuff was going into those fabric liners for the winter boots before this aerogel? I'm thinking it was probably a wool base with probably some blends of other fabrics. Do you know anything about that, Larry? About what kind of stuff goes into? I know they talk about the thinsulate in the gloves and stuff. Do you know what that material is at all? So I don't. You're muted. I see your lips
I keep
moving.
doing that. Thinsulate's a 3M product, and it's been used over the years for a lot of different things. I believe it's also pretty pricey, being a 3M product, and it is mainly used on gloves. So I think if I think Pyrogel or Aerogel might someday replace it in the application. It's just I don't think there's anything quite as good as Aerogel as far as insulating goes. So when it comes to making gloves, they would have to make I know Aspen Aerogels was making a really thin aerogel that they stopped producing for some reason. I'm not sure why, but it was about 2 millimeters thick and had wicked insulating properties, just like the stuff we use that's 1/4 inch and 1/2 inch. Even at as thin as 2 millimeters, it's got great properties. So before that, I'm pretty sure Thinsulate has been used. A lot of winter boots still use felt because it's dirt cheap. It's just not a real expensive material. So they definitely are still using that type of insulation for boots. I've heard Gore-Tex. So I don't know a lot about Gore-Tex. I know Gore-Tex can't handle a lot of heat.
Oh, he's back. You just
Hello?
cut out there for a sec. You just cut out there for a second, so we just missed your last thought.
Oh, okay. Well, did you hear the Gore-Tex stuff I was talking about?
No. Well, if you just started talking about it,
I
just missed like a couple seconds.
Okay, yeah, it was. I went into talking about Gore-Tex from Thinsulate. Gore-Tex is another insulating material, but I'm not really familiar with it. But I was talking about how Aerogel, specifically the stuff that's made by Aspen Aerogels, they did make a material that was 2 millimeters thick, and I never heard of it being used for anything. So I think they discontinued manufacturing that product. So I think that's something they might want to consider going back to producing for, like you say, a rubber boot application. You could make really lightweight rubber boots with great insulation, so you could go out in really cold weather and you'd be fine. That would be cool. Can you still hear me? Hello?
I don't know if people out there can hear me or not, but I'm back, and I was just saying how important and how appreciative I am for insulating technologies, and how excited I am that they're getting better, because being outdoors is a huge, huge passion of mine. And like I said, I'm out there just about every single day, and so I really, really appreciate the ability to enjoy the outdoors in comfort, which is exactly what these Gore-Tex and Thinsulate and aerogel and I can't remember the name of the material, but the Healy Hansen products provide the ability to be outdoors during extreme weather and remain comfortable. So it's super important to me, being an outdoor person, that I'm able to access these amazing products like these boots. They're not pretty. I tell you, people, you're not going to win any fashion show wearing these aerogel infused boots. However, you will be toasty warm and or comfortable in intense heat either way. Um, it's an amazing product, this aerogel stuff, and yeah, I think that it may be a lot more expensive than felt, but so worth it. So worth it. I don't know how they do it, but somehow this rubberized aerogel material allows for amazing breathability, and it's just super comfortable stuff. I know that dealing with regular rubber boots or winter boots with the felt liners is very much could be troublesome, especially for somebody who spends a lot of time on their feet and is doing a lot of activity with in different types of weather conditions, and just moving around a lot, walking and running and jumping and horseback riding and whatever you're doing. You want to be able to do it in comfort. And yeah, I've had lots of trouble over the years with blisters and whatnot from a lot of other work boots and rubber boots and uh, felt-lined winter boots, and I just am super impressed with the aerogel technology and how it works for our ability to deal with the weather outdoors and be able to fulfill our duties or activities in the great outdoors in comfort. And so, Larry, I don't know where you left off there before you dropped out. I think you were just starting to talk about Gore-Tex, and then you kind of were breaking up, and then you just totally dropped out.
Yeah, I think something happened to the internet connection, but it's back on. Gore-Tex, like I was saying, I don't know a lot about Gore-Tex, and I think that it's not got the same properties as aerogel, so it's not quite as good a material as far as insulating properties. When, like I say, if you do a search, even though if you just Google the aerogel, you'll usually find somewhere that pulls up a chart, and on that chart will show you all the different types of insulations there are available to people. And I'm pretty sure it's in the top 5. Like, I'm almost positive that aerogel's in the top 5. So if you were to take the real thin, I think I was saying, if you took the really thin aerogel that Aspen Aerogels was making, the 2mm thick stuff, you could probably make some really cool, well-insulated clothing for people to wear in colder climates, and it would probably be lighter and thinner than anything on the market. I can't hear you now. Are you muted?
Oh, yeah. So is there other places besides in the awesome clothing industry where aerogel is being used? And I know you said it started with NASA, but do you know any other places where aerogel or some of the other insulating technologies have been disrupting the marketplaces around the world?
Well, that's a tough question.
I guess, like you mentioned, they're using it for insulating pipes, and I'm sure that as the days and months and weeks go by, they will find many more uses for this pretty significant discovery in insulating material.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Like I said, since it was developed by NASA, it's they probably use it a lot for extraterrestrial outer space kind of stuff, where they have to protect electrical components from the cold, or just generally keep something warm to keep it functioning while it's in outer space. And I don't see NASA doing anything else as far as insulating goes. For they've developed a pretty killer stuff. Like I said, there is video on YouTube of aerogel samples, and the pure form of aerogel, like I said, they call it frozen smoke. The reason why they call that, it's kind of blue and transparent. And there's a video I watched of a guy holding it in his hand, and it was almost lighter than air. Like when he moved his hand up and down like this, it actually caused the aerogel to kind of float in air because it's lighter than a feather. It's just unbelievable stuff. I've never seen pure aerogel like it because it's super brittle in its raw form. So when it's in its frozen smoke state or the aerogel state, it's very brittle. So the products that we're using and the stuff that we've been talking about tonight is all different forms of aerogel, where I'm pretty sure with clothing, they actually sew it into the fabric. With insulation, it's actually they mix a fiber, some sort of silica fiber is mixed in with the aerogel to form blankets. And these blankets are super dusty unless you give it a treatment like we do that we're not talking about because it's proprietary. But once you eliminate the dust, man, it's easy to work with, and it's fun to work with. I find it to be a very workable material to mold into different shapes or whatever your mind wants to do with it. So the blanket stuff, I think, has got a huge future, disrupting. Oh wow, ski boots, anything like Arctic wear, like parkas. This stuff is so incredible that you can put together a real. I I fantasize about some winter clothing that is like wearing a T-shirt, or like the hoodies we wear in fall. I think you could have a hoodie made of this pyrogel or the aerogel, and you'd be going outside minus 40, and you'd be snug as a bug in a rug inside a hoodie made out of this material. It's that incredible. And with gloves, if they were to make gloves out of them, the gloves would probably be like your um, what's a good example? Like driving gloves, that thick. So super thin, super lightweight, and super warm.
Yeah,
Aerogel,
it's really, really good stuff.
it rocks.
Yeah. So I didn't really have anything else to say. I don't have too much knowledge of pyrogel or aerogel or Gore-Tex or Thinsulate, or what's that stuff called again that they make the Healy Hansen products out of?
That's
Life,
called
Leica, like
oh
not
God,
Lycra. You said it earlier, but anyway, have to watch the replay and figure out what it
hang
was.
on.
It's
Oh,
not that important. I just was wondering.
LIFA.
Lifa. I knew it was something like that. It was
So
close.
it probably for stands for something, but all I remember very well when I spoke to Hallie Hansen. I don't remember them even calling it that back then. I think what they called it was a polypropylene weave or something like that. Polypropylene or whatever pop bottles are made out of. I think it's PET. Polyet. I can't remember that. Those that terminology is too complicated to remember and memorize for me. So the uh, I think they're probably working on other things. Like if you consider wool, they use different types of mineral wool for really high temp applications for insulation. Now that's a material I'm not sure that pyrogel would be able to replace mineral wool because they use mineral wool in kilns and stuff where it's really high heat. And mineral wool is dirt cheap. Um, However, it doesn't mean it can't be replaced. It's like everything else. When you have a disruptive technology hit the market, you're gonna probably be making a lot of money because you hold patents on the stuff. But once it starts getting accepted in the market, then the price would probably drop down because what the main component I think is silica is the main component of this pyrogel, and that stuff's super cheap. It's not very expensive, and it's used in a lot of different products. So that's a really good thing, I think, for the future of insulating materials. And it's there's so many different types of insulation out there, and we know that because of the work we've done with King SSS, King Sunshine Solar Systems. We've gone through, I can't even imagine how many different products we've gone through for insulation, but it's been a long list simply because we wanted to work with the best. And but I don't think we really wanted to spend a whole bunch of money on stuff. So I like Cryogel. I think it's the insulation of the future from everything else that I've seen for insulation. And I don't work again. I don't work for the company. I'm not getting paid to say that. It's just from our experiments that we've done so far.
Didn't they send you some free samples though?
Oh, I wish. No,
Oh,
that
they
was
didn't?
that
Okay,
was
well, maybe you're not biased then.
no. It was because we live where we live. When you're wrapping your 48-inch pipeline with this stuff, you end up cutting your scraps away, and they could be a square yard of scrap, right? So in the oil patch, money's no object when it comes to the work they do, and so they use this stuff like we use toilet paper. It's something they just slap on the pipeline, fasten it the best way they can, or the way they're supposed to fasten it, and away they go. And like I said, there's a hell of a lot of pipeline around here, especially up north in the oil sands. A lot of it's above ground, and a lot of it has to stay warm because of the processes they're using for extracting it. A lot of heat. I can remember they were working at temperatures of about 150 Fahrenheit, which is pretty hot. Did I disappear again? I think I did. Nuts. You still hear me? Hello.
Hi. So
I
do you
think
want
we
to
both.
just,
I think we
yeah,
both
we both
disappeared
got
there.
cut off. Yes, indeed. Do you want to just um, wrap it up there, Larry?
Sure. We can either wrap it up or go on to another disruptive technology.
So we've been on for 47 minutes. I think that's probably pretty good on this particular topic, and then we'll
I
just,
think it's 37 because we started late.
oh, well, still, I think it'll be more organized for people to watch the replays that we don't jump around.
Hmm.
So we'll just continue tomorrow on a new disruptive technology. Uh, it's super exciting that we're involved in product development because we actually kind of get a front row seat for a lot of the stuff that
Oh
is
yeah,
coming.
yeah. And I think it's really important that not only are we discussing a lot of disruptive technologies, we're familiar with a lot of disruptive technologies because of the business we're in. So we know a few things that I think a lot of entrepreneurs and inventors might not know. And they could probably save themselves a little bit of headache by tuning into this hangout. Because the stuff we were just talking about is pretty state of the art information. I don't recall ever being able to find that sort of information right off the hop. I wanted to mention the way we discovered pyrogel was from, I think it was our supplier, if I'm not mistaken, that was supplying us with this fiberglass board. Do you remember how we got onto pyrogel?
Not specifically. I um I think you tried a couple of different things before you discovered it. I'm not sure, but yeah, definitely with the temperatures that we're dealing with, we're having to deal with some interesting insulating technologies. I know that in our specific disruptive technology, we're actually using a really, really, really old technology for our insulating our heated fluid, which is Dewar technology. And
Right, and
you want to?
that's where it started.
It's not at all a disruptive technology because it's been around for a long, long time. However,
Hello, hello, again. Why does it keep doing that? Hello, hello. Why does this happen? No way. Are you still there? Oh, she's coming back now. Maybe I should be talking rather than looking like a buffoon.
Hello. Oh, we're back.
I think we're back. I didn't know if I was on and you were off because I'm sitting there looking at the screen.
No, we're back, and I thought that maybe you could just comment on where Doer technology is at, and then you can close it off for us.
Well, when you mentioned that, that just jogged my mind how we got into the Pyrogel, because I couldn't remember the exact reason. We were working with. Remember, I had to make all these little donuts out of fiberglass for the vacuum jacketed tubing.
Okay. Yeah. Right.
Or what was before it wasn't a vacuum jacketed tubing, but now it is a vacuum jacketed tubing. Well, I think it was at that point where I actually made the discovery that we had discussed this stuff called aerogel, and I was telling you that it was a lot better, but I think I told you that it was going to be a lot more expensive, but it's something I actually envisioned through the law of attraction, I think 7 years ago or 6 years ago, on how I was thinking. Remember, I wanted this thing to be the best, but we wanted to start kind of cheap, and then it turned out, well, we're going to have to use what we originally, or what the original concept was for. And so that's how we got into Pyrogel. It's just because it's the best. But we didn't think we were going to need the best for our application. But it turns out to maximize your electrical output, yeah, you want to be working with the best stuff. So that's what we've got now with King Sunshine Solar Systems. Equipment is all state-of-the-art stuff, and that's why it works as well as it does. So to answer your question, what was your question again?
Oh, just about the Doer technology and where, if there's been any changes with that, or will we be kind of causing any disruption by how we're using it?
Oh, I think every single component on our machines pretty much.
No, but specifically the Doer insulating technology. Is there been any changes to that throughout its
history?
Yeah, and then how it maybe started, what you know about that? Because at one time, thermos the technology in our thermoses was a disruptive technology, right?
Yeah, the guy was named Doer. His last name was Doer. He was a German scientist, and he found out that by taking all the air out of a glass jar, a double-walled glass jar, you could keep the contents cold for a really long time, or hot for a really long time. And what he really discovered was that if you evacuated all the air so that there was no air in there whatsoever, well, it's just like being in space. You can't transfer heat and you can't transfer cold through an airless environment. So that was discovered a long time ago, and the guy was really cool, this Mr. Doer. I can't remember his first name. I think he was German. And what was really cool about this guy is he said, I like this idea. I'm giving it to the world. He didn't even go for a patent. He made it public domain right off the bat. And then it was a couple of brothers, I believe, named who started the Thermos thing. And I don't think their last name was Thermos. It was they just started a company and started producing thermoses, and that's really how the Doer got popular. However, Doers have always been used in the labs to store liquid nitrogen. I can remember as a student in school seeing this big thing with steam, what looked like steam coming out of it, and it was actually liquid nitrogen in the container, and it was venting off through the top as steam. It was really exciting to see, and I never forgot that. I didn't know at the time it was in a dewar. I thought it was just a tin can. And today, with the pyrogel and the aerogel, they're using, I was reading that NASA is actually using pyro or aerogel to wrap around the outside of a dewar. So you've got your dewar as your main component, and then you've got the aerogel on the outside as more insulation, and that's just mind-blowing how much the insulation value that must be, because they can also make dewars using aerogel. So I think even with the dewar technology for storing, I've seen dewars that are made out of polyurethane foam. So dewars, the classic glass dewar, like in a thermos, the old-fashioned thermoses with the vacuum, those can be used for hot or cold liquids or contents, whatever the contents are. However, the dewars that they're making out of polyurethane, you can only put cold stuff into. Because if you put hot stuff into the polyurethane foam, it'll melt it, because I think its melting temperature is less than boiling water. So it can't handle heat. You're muted. I think you're muted.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I didn't really have anything else to say about thermoses and dewars, but yeah, it's pretty cool what you put together there. I'm looking forward to everybody seeing it. I don't think that we discussed it on air, but we've discussed it outside of our hangout, that we are going to attempt to broadcast our next test via one of these hangouts. It will not be our regular disruptive technology hangout, because at this time of day testing is not possible here in Alberta, Canada. The sun is just going down, so it will be at a different time, and then we will do a recap of the on the hangout, and maybe we can attempt again to watch a YouTube video showing the test that we broadcast live during our hangout. So yeah, other than that, I don't have anything else to say about insulating technologies and their disruptive force in the marketplace. Do you want to wrap it up, Larry?
Oh, I could, but that would mean talking for another 10 minutes. Just wrap it up on the insulation side of things. I think just to reiterate, for those people that might have missed what we were talking about, is the different types of insulation is disruptive technology, and we spent a lot of time talking about pyrogel and other aerogel products, because in our opinion, with King Sunshine Solar System, pyrogel and aerogel products are the best insulation there is for retaining heat and as your main component. And there's things you can do to even make that insulating factor even higher by using foil, which is stuff that we're working on. So yeah, I think that pretty much wraps it up, everything we talked about tonight. So yeah, don't waste your time with, if you're looking to insulate stuff really well, don't waste your time with anything else. You go straight to pyrogel or aerogel products to maximize your insulating stuff. That's about it.
Perfect. Okay, well, good night, everybody. If I don't see you in the future, I will see you in the pasture, because that's where
Moo.